on.
Tier list with the explanation.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully this is working. Let me know if you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Go quick heads up being
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, stream looks fine.
Alright, perfect, great. Hello everybody, welcome to the For Our Discord Dojo. I'm here with the esteemed Normie and also Bean.
Hello.
One of the best duelists in the game, came second in our duel tournament, which was the title of the stream for a moment ago. Sorry about that. And we are going to be discussing today the new season, which has just dropped. As you can see, we've got an Inquisitor Pirate on the background. We're going to cover very quickly Jormungandr, who's had a big rework. It's finally arrived. And then we're going to go on, which most of what we're going to do is talk about the dodge changes and the impact they've had on the meta and the high-level game, and which characters are the winners and losers of the patch, as it were, and what we would like to see differently or changed for in the future. Because as you're probably aware, if you've been watching Reddit or really anywhere tangentially associated with the game, this patch has become quite divisive. Lots of people are unhappy with it. I would like to say, I could hazard to say that Bean and Normie, neither of them are pleased.
Amazing. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's a no from them. But I'm gonna hopefully try and discuss things, and we'll try and move things in a productive way. I don't think it's really super helpful to say things like, "Oh, just revert the patch," because realistically, they're never going to do that. So we've got to talk about the kind of things that we would like to be able to see within the context of what is reasonable. So we're going to discuss a little bit the different dodge attacks and which ones are now very underpowered and need buffing to make the characters not feel as bad. Because realistically, I don't think they're going to ever change the dodge attacks being light parries. I think we are stuck with that, for better or worse. And hopefully, with some changes, it can end up being for the better. Anything you guys want to say before we just jump right into it with Jorm?
This is funny. That's all I have to say.
It's funny, fair enough. Right, I will invite one of you. Are you in game, Normie, or just Bean?
Yeah, I am.
Right, just my thing being slow. Right. Oh yeah, there you go. Right, I guess we do it in full. Oh, well, I'll bring in Bean and we can do it in a custom brawl as well. So we're going to look at. No, it's not button. God damn it, I'm an idiot. Sorry about that, guys. Just have to wait for me to be competent. So we're going to talk about Jormungandr. Jorm has received a big rework that has completely changed his identity, as it were, which was previously a stamina bully, and now he is. There we go. Damage all, get all.
No, he's just a bully.
Now he's just a bully. Yes, he is now a what they want to call positional bully, and his kit is very much based around wall splats and trying to get wall splats. So start here. We can all go Jorm because we'll demonstrate some of the hitboxes and stuff as well whilst we're doing this. So yeah, no more Stamina Bully. Stamina Bully is out, which is definitely a good thing because it was rather irritating having to. If you guys go on the same team, then you could probably might be able to show off a gank or two on me because I can't do things because I'm incompetent.
Yeah, that Bean will have to teach me because I refused to play the game since the patch.
Well, fair enough then.
Good. Do you not play that at all?
No.
Oh man.
Why would I?
You have some fucking shit to see.
I mean, I've seen it. I just don't wanna. I don't wanna see it with my eyes. You feel?
Yeah, I feel you.
Well, anyway, we'll quickly go over the helicopter view of the changes to Jorm. No more stamina drain or pause on any of his bashes. Instead of a 600 ms neutral bash, he's got a 500 ms forward dodge bash, which is, how would you say, reactability on that is like being?
It's pretty easy.
Pretty easy, fair enough.
He has 4 dodge heavy as well.
Yeah, does a 4 dodge heavy that he picks it up with, and I don't know if have they fixed the? I'm gonna try it now. See if they've. So there's a bug where Yeah, where you could. Normally there's a delay, and if you change your. It does look like that's actually not been fixed. If you switch guards and then immediately forward dodge, it kind of eats his forward dodge animation, and so.
If you do other feints as well, like this. Like this. See?
Yeah, so that has like very little animation in the startup, so it might be usable. Anyway, this bash now confirms a light. As you can see, if I do it on beam, it doesn't come down anymore. Confirms a light opener, and then you go into your chains, which are the same as before, except the finisher lights are not undodgeable anymore. They're just regular old dodgeable lights. The bean isn't dodging because it's okay.
Yeah.
Normie's done these demonstrations enough with me that he kind of like picks up on my.
Yeah.
No, Bean is just noob, but this is all.
I know.
Yeah, he can't do lights, but they're still enhanced. And the finishers, the top heavy finisher now also knocks back. Didn't used to, but now it does stagger you. As well as the sides, which still do. Sorry. They knock you around. The big change, other than that, the reason his dodge lights, finisher lights are no longer undodgeable is because he now has a brand new chain zone, which is obviously a chain bash, which is a lot slower, but it always knocks down regardless of stamina, and it is so. And I've just demonstrated the other thing that you can't.
This is fine.
Yeah. Which is his regular guard break heavies change. They now throw you. They do 12 damage, and they confirm a heavy opener. Damage on all his heavy attacks and chain attacks has gone down, so he only has 22 damage on that punish. But that's kind of made up for with Big War Splat, and of course, yeah, the bash does 30 damage on Hammer Slams, so that's big damage. And the last thing he's got, which is different, actually it's not the last thing he's got that's different, he's also got a new heavy parry punish, if you throw me a heavy beam. It does 16 direct damage and leads into your chains. Instead of confirming a light, doesn't confirm anything. The guard break punish also does direct damage and confirms a light opener or a zone opener. And he's got one more cool thing, which is basically after any of his attacks except his neutral bash, his guard break and bash, hammer slam, the guard break parries, and this move itself, he can do a chain zone, which is called Ouroboros Might, and does 24 damage and has very quick hyper armor. And is pretty good. It's got crazy good hitbox, hasn't it? As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it's like major size.
Major hitbox.
Is it?
Also, you forgot to talk about this.
I didn't know it was as bad as major.
It's probably better, to be honest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is better.
Yeah, I'll see if I can demonstrate it now on a. Well, it's not.
I'll go all the way behind you. Go on.
Alright.
Well, I need to be walking towards you. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, it does hit all the way around. We tested it, is a full 360 degrees. Wow. Yeah, and can look a bit funky, especially the backwards hit. I guess it's weird because it hits early behind you, even though the hammer swing is kind of late. It's also feintable. Well, apparently.
It's super early feint.
Yeah, it's the input window for feinting it is a little bit funky. But it's a pretty good recovery cancel. We haven't got any other characters with a quick hyper armor recovery cancel like this, so I think it's interesting at least, and I've seen a few scrims of him in twos, so people using them.
It's really good. It's just I'm not sure if this is how they intended for it to be, because in onesies it's not usable, but the chain link is too slow, so you can't actually trade with it.
So for example, if I go for a dodge, yeah, that's a big problem. I'll go light and then finisher, and you can dodge attack my finish, and I'll try and trade with you with this thing. Well, yeah, if you go for a guard break, it protects that, but you can't use it to protect it.
No.
Yeah, you can't protect your users against dodge attack, and you also you can off the light openers. So if you dodge attack my heavy opener, for example.
Yeah, but I can block it.
Oh yeah, alright, fair enough. Depends, I guess.
Wait, I want to try something. Do it again.
Oh,
No, it's heavy.
I mean, it's quite fun to use after your dodge attack as well, kind of doing it into Raider. But you're right, the chain link on it is pretty bad, so you can't very easily use it to trade with things in chains. On the other hand, that is kind of, there's one area where that's pretty good, because you can chain after your chain bash, including into that zone. The chain link is atrocious, it's 500 milliseconds, which does mean that it's possible to get a guard break on it. So if I, like, that's
Wait.
oh, yeah, of course. If you early dodge it, it does catch early dodges. So yeah, even though I buffered it then, and I also buffer the finishers, that's gonna, an early dodge gonna catch it. But if you wait a little bit and then try, that's gonna happen. So
I mean, I don't think that's how that's gonna play out, but.
no, I mean, I've seen people. I had an unfortunate match with a poor Ray the other day who he repeatedly dodged guard broke me and repeatedly ate the top heavy head.
Yeah, it's normally not punishable guard break unless you absolutely buffer, like you make a read that the bash comes out, not even the dead echo, and then if you do that, you get caught by everything else because of the dodge guard changes.
Yeah, well, I got the light, but you know, so what. So yeah, Jorm, powerful, for definite. Do you think gonna be meta relevant, you guys?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
getting him out of the team.
I don't know how he is in onesies, but he's definitely 4Gs material easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I mean,
Not the
no.
best.
I almost said something very cursed. I almost said I don't think he's as good as I expect him to be. I think he is. I just expect him to be good in different ways. But he's
Yeah.
stupid strong, like stupid strong.
Yeah, the chain bash hasn't got a great range, so it's not super useful in team fights, and
Yeah.
I think we've seen that Hammer Slam has lost its hammer, so...
Oh, yeah, I know,
Well,
but
you Hammer Slam me, and and you can see that... But if I try and... I'll Hammer Slam B, and then Normie can interrupt, okay?
all that kid.
But either way, you can... It's a lot more peelable, slam in games. At least you are frame neutral now, and landing it rather than frame and disadvantage, so that's something.
Round 2.
But yeah, the character's good. Good in maybe the wrong ways. On like the damage is still very high. It's not the same as it was in the TG. And his forward dodge bash. Oh yeah, the running attack's got a new animation, which is kind of hilarious. The forward dodge is a little bit faster as well, so you can get armor a bit faster. The bash doesn't have. Oh yeah, it has something like GB, so that's helpful still. I mean, that was before. Something in the neutral bash no longer chains on miss. So if you dodge it and miss, I don't know if you get guard broken. I'm assuming you probably do.
Not on reaction, no.
Okay, not on reaction, but an early dodge.
Yeah, it's just like any other bash.
I still couldn't counter that. So, not crazy strong from neutral. I mean, he has his enhanced lights. Good, very good chain damage, and obviously very scary with wall. Slightly less damage than normal. Without a wall, it's still, you know, doable.
Yeah, but this is new.
Yeah,
You showed it.
That's
did?
that's your punish you want to use without a wall. You use this, and then you can also go into your regular zone, which is 13 damage. Hits around. Oh yeah, that's something else to mention. Off the knockdown bash, you can also get the chains up, which is lower damage than slam by a significant margin, but it hits all around you, as we've shown, and it's safe to be. You can't be peeled really. So
I have top 10 tips and tricks for this.
yeah.
It's you can do buffered light after the zone on knockdown, and they have to buffer the parry like super early if they want to parry it, otherwise it's unparryable. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
And like if I dodge, I get hit by it, so it's a really good tool to catch someone off guard with.
Yeah. And I mean, even if it's blocked, it does chip damage as well, so it puts you in the same kind of damage camp as the slam would anyway, and you're in chain, so. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think I only want to cover Jorm briefly. I'm sure you'll all be experiencing him in matchmaking, and we're hoping he probably gets a couple of choice tweaks. In particular, I think his chain bash should not chain on miss.
It shouldn't be a thing.
Oh,
We don't talk about that.
Fair enough. Well,
Yeah, sure. The infinite into itself
Oh
shouldn't
yes,
be
you
a
know about the
thing.
infinite. Yes. If you whiff, yes. Okay. So it's not too hard to do. Even I can do it if you get hit by one wing.
Oh yeah,
So
that
with
just
his
goes on
tier,
forever.
with his tier,
Free heal.
yeah, his tier 1 is a big heal, but I'm expecting that to get fixed because it would be a very easy fix for
Yeah.
this. It's just like a change in company values, so we'll see how long that lasts. I can imagine there'll be a hot. They were pretty fast with hot fixes for Aphira, so I expect we'll see something in a similar-ish time frame. I don't think they'll leave it. I mean, at least it doesn't do damage. It's just irritating, and a lot of them can stall you out in revenge and so on.
It's very good troll potential.
Yeah. And obviously it gives you feats. His tier 2 feat is now a lot more powerful because you're going to be landing a slam quite a lot more, I think. Yeah, I'd say more. Anyway, let's move.
Shall we go?
Oh yeah, you want to do? Do you want to do a quick gank? I mean, you can as well kill
That's what I'm
these.
doing, man.
See,
Just
I don't know what
as
you
soon
want to do.
as soon as you see the Jorm light, teammate can literally just press light and you go into your slam.
What if I don't have an enhanced though? Like if whatever I'm playing in the
Doesn't
future. No, that's tough.
Round 3.
Just eat it anyway.
So,
As soon as you see me light, press light.
It's funny.
that's pretty funny. You can also get 2 heavies off a Jormungandr break. Like one before the knockback and one afterwards.
Okay, do that.
What?
UGB, just GB and heavy bin.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
not that,
if you did it the other way, I
but,
would have hit him.
But yeah, basically that's how it works.
I see, yeah. His GB heavies do have a ridiculous hitbox though.
They do.
you gotta
Oh,
be
okay.
careful.
Like ridiculously good or ridiculously non-existent.
Like,
Round
huge.
Okay,
Yeah,
they are
for what
quite
it is.
slow and they're not armored, so it's not too.
Normie stunned next to me.
Well,
Missed.
I didn't walk forward either, so.
Okay,
No.
no.
I mean,
the other side.
you wouldn't expect it to have any hitbox at all, so.
Yeah, I'm surprised it has
Do
any
a, do a
hitbox,
heavy
so-
when you do it.
Nah, let me go other side, maybe. You're bad, okay. Don't trust me.
Alright,
You can also use the forward one, which will knock me. This has I think the same stagger rate, like a lower distance.
I think it's the same, it just doesn't look like the same.
Yeah, I think you go you don't go as far, but you get staggered just the same amount of time, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean he's going to be a strong ganker as well as
He's a strong anchor, he's worse than Scent was on rework. FYI, he has multiple 100 to zeros.
okay. So yeah.
So that needs
Very
a
strong
bit of
ganker.
looking at it.
Understatement in that case, fair enough. And like he has, I don't think he's the same level of. So if you can't confirm his knockdown bash off things that you couldn't confirm other bashes on, like so similar to Tiandi in terms of you're not confirming it off like double hit stuns, just the first one, and that kind of thing. So like if it's not going to work with, but if Normie like throws a heavy and then just kill me and then we do the next one. So if like say Normie parries my dodge dance, there's always a light parry now, it's low. And then does a heavy, and then Bean does a light on the heavy hit stun, or heavy on the heavy hit stun to try and confirm the chain bash. The chain bash shouldn't knock me down.
So
So wait, what?
I'm trying to confirm your chain bash.
yeah, just heavy on his heavy, and then like so.
Oh wait, on GB or just on heavy?
Just a regular heavy. I'm gonna throw you a dodge light so you can parry me.
Okay.
It's a heavy hit.
Oh, okay, that was too long.
I mean-
But
Well,
essentially-
yeah, if you time it perfectly.
yeah. But like, I mean, I could have dodged that. So.
Oh. I think you can time it.
I mean, it's
It's the point I'm
Sure,
making is
it's
it's not
like,
gonna, it's not like old.
that's
Zen.
like, yeah, sure, it's good that you cannot turn the 100 to 0 into 150 to 0, you know?
Yeah, yes, it's true.
I could always just
You're
press light to
unblockable,
confirm.
ignore her third hit stun. No, it doesn't, but it does reset hit stun. So it's a pinning move. Again, like, if you're in the middle of a pin or you're already in second hit stun, if you're a second hit stun, it will move you. So if you like heavy into Jorm finisher heavy, the finisher heavy will knock you around. But if it's the second heavy, so if like you bash light heavy, I don't think it does. Or it works the same as other pins essentially. So it's not like Storm Rush where you can just do them back to back forever and ever, and it will always knock you. It will always pin you. Anyway, we talked about Jorm for a little bit. I want to mostly cover the dodge attack changes. So, and also because with you guys doing that in my yelling or screaming in the mode, it's gonna be.
No, I have other things to scream about if we talk about the changes.
Yeah, but at least the characters won't be screaming. Alright, so I guess one of you should pick Janhu, or I mean, maybe I'll go Janhu. One of you want to go Pirate, and
I go Pirate.
Sure.
and pick another character you think has changed considerably with the. Oh, you should pick one. You pick Shigoki. That'll be a good.
Oh yeah, being Golden Cash.
Golgish. Where is he? Been that long, don't know where he is.
Not
So-
in the. He's in the minion category.
There he is. Hidden away.
So, quick summary of what the changes have been. First off, all dodge attacks are light parries now, except the faintful ones like Tiandis and Warmongers. Those are still heavy parries, but they're also garbage vulnerable. So, yeah, this applies to all dodge attacks regardless of heavy or light input, or regardless of iframes. So, Ibushi's Sidewinder, which doesn't really have dodge frames, is also a light parry now, much to the chagrin of all the Ibushi mains. Other thing that's changed apart from that, because that's the headline change, the dodge input window has changed for everything. Every dodge attack that's been changed has had its input window changed. They now go from 200 to 400 every time. So it's always the same delay window. Even for ones that didn't used to have delay windows or had longer delay windows. So characters like Orochi and Kensei, or Berserker, Shaman, their dodge windows have gotten shorter. Whereas characters like Pirate, their dodge windows have gotten longer. So you know you can they all come out a little faster now, which does mean that you can punish certain low recovery bashes a little bit easier with all characters. Things like Valkyrie's sweep is now going to be consistently punishable with any dodge attack, pretty much. Whereas beforehand, the recovery was long enough that you could block sometimes. Unfortunately, as we mentioned with Ibushi, these changes have not really been applied with any many exceptions. Candy's dodge lights still have a different dodge window, but unfortunately, Janhu's also have the faster window, and because they're unreactable, it's just going to be spamming. I've got frame of for this as well. Normally can't interrupt me if I want to. It's just bad. Yeah. It only does 9 damage, but for most players that is unfortunate. Dodge bashes have also changed. If Bean tries to dodge my amazing Feint Guard break, dodges my heavy, I can just dodge and guard break him.
That is so sad. That is so sad.
So no bashes are chaining on whiff at all. The forwards one still do. So if I dodge his forward headbutt, he can still chain into the heavies. But the side one does not, and this applies to all chain bashes that chained, which is to be honest only Gokis and also Gladiators, which still doesn't do any damage, but can't chain on miss either. So yeah, that's definitely one that is going to need tweaking. Finally, well, actually, there's 2 more changes. One is the one that everybody's happy about is somebody come over here in the corner. Bean, come over here in the corner, and you can bash me. Headbutt me over and over. I can still actually I'll just back dodge so I can.
Do me.
All right.
Okay, let's not be like corner.
Yeah, well, if you just
Or you both, or you can both. Or I can hold.
Oh yeah, you just
let
bash
Bean
me,
where you're
Bean, I'll
sitting,
just back
man.
dodge.
Alright, just go me. Oh, yeah.
Dodge forward. Beast.
As you can see, Bean is dodging into the wall and is still able to dodge my forward dodge bash because now having your iframes reduced, your dodge shortened by dodging into a wall or a player or a minion, just no longer removes your iframes. So bash undodgeable mix-ups will now work in the minion lane. You will not be dodging Griffin kicks and still getting kicked. You can't be body blocked for an infinite bash gank with no revenge anymore. You can't get stuck.
You can still guard break minions though, don't worry about it.
Pardon?
You can still guard break minions though.
I mean, yes, you can still guard break minions if you're unlucky. Not nearly as bad as it used to be, but still. So that's a
I don't.
pretty good change. You can't, now, it also means you can't deflect as easily into walls. But the counterpart of this change is that all guards now disappear on dodge for static guard characters. Unless you're like Janhu and you have a superior block, or you're a reflex guard character that has deflects, all your guards will always disappear. And I mean, you also lose it on back dodges. So Janhu used to be able to keep his on back dodges. Irritatingly, also on forward dodges, which doesn't really seem necessary because they aren't defensive at all. But this means that neutral undodgeables are a lot more effective, and also external bash blue mix-ups cannot be. I can't externally guard against a mix-up and dodge away from the bash because I'll have no guard and I'll get hit by them. So things like key stance.
Things that I don't have.
Yeah, well, you have got a bash. You got a dodge on a light undodgeable, haven't you? I mean,
oh, that's a weird mix-up to use.
yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, as an example, pirates bash into all heavy into.
How do I even like? Hold on, block the heavy. That.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think actually, weirdly enough, they don't need to be undodgeable because you literally can't dodge them anyway. So,
Yeah.
hit stun.
Actually, I want to try heavy because I think that's gonna hit you as well.
Yeah, it probably will actually. So, not only bash blue mix-ups, but sort of pseudo undodgeable mix-ups, like, for example, Valkyries.
Oh, that. Wait, hold on to this.
No, not that one. That's fun.
I'm dead.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So you got to be timing your external pressure has gotten a lot better for characters that have any moves that force dodges. Things like Valkyrie's sweep, her heavy finishes she can just throw a heavy finisher and it's not undodgeable, but it hits at different timings, and because you don't have block anymore, it's still going to catch you. That is the case for pretty much a lot of characters. So a lot of characters' offense has gotten better, and actually, when we go into our little, which I think we should do now, actually, I'm going to switch over the stream to look at the other thing I prepared, which is, here we go. Can you guys see it? I guess you have to look on the stream. We're basically looking at the characters that have only been buffed, unchanged, or like even.
Pull us out then. Don't have to be in here.
Yeah. All right. I was only thinking in case we wanted to sort of swap back in and discuss things, but basically we're going to go quickly over which heroes we think have received just big buffs and who the winners and losers are, essentially. I'm going to start off with Janhu, because Janhu has only been buffed. The dodge changes don't affect Janhu's guard, because he already had guard that moved on dodge, and I guess he can't back dodge anymore. But those dodge attacks are insane, and need to get back to static window. They now beat feint to guard break, where they didn't beforehand, and he's got neutral on dodgeable, which is working better. Other characters that have only really been buffed are those with only light attacks and reflex guards. So, Nusha, who else has got dodge lights that, Tendy's got technically had a bit of a nerf.
Wait, the Nusha changed it. Wasn't she the same window before?
Yeah, she was a light Harry beforehand, but now it's got a variable input. So
By 100 ms.
200
No,
ms,
by
I guess.
200 ms.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's better. It's just not crazy or anything. Buddy, Orochi technically has been buffed. Well, actually, no, his is
No,
not.
he's been nerfed.
Mostly nerfed because his window's changed, yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah,
find out which ones.
mostly
Oh, yeah, the characters that have had, like the crappy dodge attacks are now kind of like
Right,
Black
hold
Prior,
on.
for example, has only really been buffed.
Hold on, break. Chiro got nerfed.
Who?
Only. Or,
Orochi.
yeah.
Oh, you're right, yeah, he's not. You're right. Well, you're right, he's only nerfed. Rip. Was there any beneficial changes for him?
Nothing. Literally nothing.
Nothing. Fair enough. So we're looking at static dodge lights. They've only been buffed with like, okay, so Black Prior is kind of only really been buffed because his guard moved on dodge. I mean, technically it's mostly buffed.
He's mostly buffed.
Mostly buffed, but
His
still.
offense is more usable.
Yeah, his offense is more usable as well,
offense.
so Bash and Bloom mix up. Characters of like, any character with like a static dodge light, so Jorm, I mean, disregarding the Jorm buffs in general, they're kind of like even. They've gained better input windows, and they've lost guard on dodge, and they're not as affected by the dodge light change. Oh yeah, Valkyrie, there we go. Where's she at? There she is. Valkyrie's pretty much only been buffed, right? Because dodges are the same. Her guard hasn't changed. That's the way it was. In fact, her dodges.
Buff more, please. Yes.
Yeah, buff back more.
Please.
Another character that's only really been buffed is Tiandi. Well, I guess he's mostly buffed because he doesn't now have guard on dodge, so he can't use his dodge recovery cancels as quickly. But it's still, I would say he's been mostly buffed, but his buff's been very strong. So Tiandi's offense works a lot better. You're right. Sweep got more punishable. Okay, so I guess.
Mostly buffed, I guess.
I mean, it's technically.
But that's not.
But I mean, it's like
Okay.
we'll
Sitting there right now.
We'll put it there.
Yes.
No, I mean, wait, no, I mean, it's more punishable not because it's got nerfed.
Yeah, it's just for everybody else.
It's everybody above, so.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Right, who else has got dodge lights that were, I guess, I said like, so the ones that have been, I would consider the dodge lights that have not gone down to be kind of even, they'd change one thing for another one. Warlord's got undodgeables that are better from neutral now. Any other dodge lights? We've got Centurion. Where's he hiding at? There he is. So he's kind of like, again, these guys gain a variable window, but they lose guard and dodge. So
yeah. Even though, I mean, depends how you look at it, but yeah. It's
I put evens is like it's ups and downs for them essentially. So,
they can change drastically depending on what scenarios we're talking about because in some scenarios having a bigger window doesn't do anything. But I mean that's super nitpicky. So
yeah, fair enough. Characters like the characters with the side dodge, the faintable side dodge heavies, again haven't really changed, but because they've lost from the guard,
Yeah, nerfed.
Switch, so they're
nerfed.
That's all. Tiandi's already in the mostly buffed category, so that's him. Where's Have I put Warmongandr there already? Yeah, there we go. Conqueror is going to be. Oh yeah, Conqueror's full block windows, superior block windows have gone. So pretty much Conqueror's only nerfed. Actually, no, he gets a variable window, so mostly nerfed. Same with Kensei, mostly nerfed. It's a light power. Actually, no, Kensei's only nerfed because of the.
Kensei's only nerfed.
Yeah, only nerfed. Goki only nerfed. Well, a variable window, but it's a shorter It's variable, but it's earlier. Yeah, put it there.
Just put Shigoki and Nobu in like a tier below.
Well, Nobushi is the very sad case that has literally been only nerfed because her dodge windows were the same. She now no longer has guard block, and of course Sidewinder is a light parry, so only nerfed unfortunately. Well,
PK nerfed.
PK's nerfed, it's mostly it's variable window.
Only
so that's
nerfed.
Nice.
No, PK's only nerfed.
So it wasn't variable window before it was static, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was static.
It was.
Yeah.
It was variable.
Oh, is it variable? Okay, well, whatever. I'll put in mostly or only. I mean, the thing is Berserker technically only nerfed because of Windows. It's not as early anymore, and it's the same delay. But I guess it's better at catching things. Lawbringer, weirdly, side dodge bashes that were 533 ms were meant to have been slowed down to 600 ms, except for some reason Lawbringer's wasn't. So I don't know what was going on with that, but he's pretty much only really been mostly nerfed because the recovery's not changed. And window, it's now earlier, so you can bash people out of things earlier. Gladiator's got mostly nerfed because variable windows, but
Only nerfed. No, wait. Yeah, no, you're right.
yeah, variable windows. I would have said unchanged / evens, except not being able to chain or bash is so impactful for him. Raider again is
Raiders got worse.
Like, especially because his side dodge used to be so good. In fact, like they can do it earlier, but it's basically the same length delay window. It's just been shoved earlier. Highlander again. A lot of characters with dodge heavies are in the mostly nerfed category because they've changed input windows, but like they're light parries, so it kind of and they lose guard and dodge.
Ultra
Aramusha
nerf.
is only nerfed. Shaman
Oh my god.
is only nerfed. Shinobi is only nerfed as well.
Yeah,
No, he can do it earlier. And he can still flip to recovery cancel. Same with Conqueror, who can still full block to recovery cancel. So they're still useful in team fights, but the recovery on them has gone up. Yeah, Raider Window got nerfed. Okay, so I've put him in mostly nerfed. Wait, no, was it 200, 500 beforehand? Okay, I thought it was 300, 500, but yeah, if it's 200, 500, he's only nerfed. Raider's gone down.
Yeah, no.
Shaolin, mostly nerfed because it was a dodge heavy. Still very good hitbox. Comes out earlier now. Hitakiri, again, mostly nerfed. Griffin, poor Griffin, in mostly nerfed as well. Kyoshin. Kyoshin's a weird one because, well, his undodgeable mix-up's gotten better. He's gotten variable mix-up. I mean, we're going to
Well, that's not anything to do...
That's not anything to do with it. It's like a side effect. Pirate is also in the mostly nerfed category because the variable window makes it a little bit better, but, yeah. Harry.
I mean... I would push for Pirate and only nerfed because of the iframes of the attack. It's like, sure, you have an extra window, doesn't change anything.
I think it means it's some people complain about the dodge time being so slow, and now it's not as slow. So that kind of like makes up for it a little bit.
Yeah, we get one tapped by getting it buried.
Yes, this is true. And then Afira and Medjay again also in the mostly nerfed category.
Medjay Turbo Omega nerfed.
Yeah, well, he benefits from the loss of guard on dodge. So all the characters have got a sort of a mixed bag with loss of guard on dodge because some of them are going to be, obviously they're disadvantageous in many cases, but it's advantageous to have your big sweeping unblockables not be externally dodged, or sweeping attacks be externally blockable and dodgeable at the same time. So in a way, Medjay's got buff more. I think the characters that have got bigger hitboxes have been buffed more than other characters with the back characters with small hitboxes that have been nerfed. If that makes any sense?
All I see is that the good characters got buffed and the bad ones got nerfed.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at these two here being only buffed, which really is bad times. They are definitely in need of nerfs. I mean, I expect they probably will get some nerfs eventually. It's only really been a few.
I don't know, man.
Pardon?
I don't know. They're not really saying anything.
I mean, okay, they've been out a season, but I think people were only really making a big loud noise about them being really bad for the meta by like the end of the season, and we know they take a while to put changes in patches. So I wouldn't be surprised if they see nerfs in either next season or maybe even the title update too, that's coming in mid-season patch. I mean, that's quite unlikely, I think, but maybe next season we'll see some nerfs to them. Anyway, as you can see, change is a bit of a mixed bag for everybody. I sort of rushed through with that because I don't know, I find tier lists a little bit silly, but yeah. It feels bad for these characters, Nobushi, Peacekeeper, who had bad dodge attacks, or well, sort of necessarily bad.
Right, guys, I'm making the bad worse.
The bad worse, yeah. In many ways, it has done that, which is, that brings us quite conveniently onto our next topic of discussion, which is which dodge attacks and things would we like to see buffed, or do we want to see any more of them nerfed as well? So for that, I have actually prepared something. I basically have tried to go through all the dodge attacks in the game and rank or score them based on certain characteristics. So these are going to be pretty, feel free to complain about the characteristics being biased or not very good measures, but things like how much health the character has, how fast the dodge attack is, how good the hitboxes are, and things like what properties the dodge attack has, because now everybody's being light parried. There are still attacks that are non-enhanced on blocks. There are still attacks that are undodgeable and so on, that have chain hyper armor or things. And then also, like, how many defensive tools the character has. Sorry, Noodles is yelling at me. Hello, buddy. Alright. So this I think we're probably going to spend the longest on, because, I haven't done it for dodge bashes, but we can talk about that as well. I think if let's start by talking about dodge bashes, because there are only a few of them to go. We've got Lawbringer, Conqueror, Shigoki. Oh, they're all neatly lined up here. And these guys here are our dodge bash boys. Which one of these are... Yeah, you're right, execute Nutella mentions. And if you want to hop into the voice chat, Nutella, you can at any point. I'm just trying to, like, work it. Yeah, it's all good. How many views have we got at the moment? Sorry. Got distracted by things. 1 second. Okay. Good. What was I saying? Okay, so dodge bashes. We've got... They're all now guard breakable on dodge. If you dodge the side dodge bash, you've got guard broken. Shinobi and Conqueror still have the recovery cancels. Gladiators does no damage, which is...
So there is actually literally decoration.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very
Cosmetic.
strange move to use.
It can ledge, that's about it.
It can ledge, yeah. I mean, it's also, it beats hyper armor, so it has some properties of the dodge bashes, and if you have Haymaker up, it does a bit of damage, but really it's questionable move. And Goki's, again, is low damage, but it does do direct damage, so if you're, like, comparing a 13 damage dodge bash like these guys have to a 10 damage one that can kill you before you get revenge, and so on, I mean, I'm not sure if the damage on this one needs to go up at all. Gladiator, I think, is that...
I don't know why it needed to be changed anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of us say... I don't want to...
A lot of... Like, most of the bad... If we don't include the obvious stupid changes like the Zanhu and, like the stuff that shouldn't have happened, and we just take what's bad, it's just like... I don't even know if I can gather words for this. It's type of thing you don't want to standardize, because then you have stuff like, oh look, Shigoki can't do this anymore. Okay, well you just removed basically half of his functionality in team fights, and then you have stuff like Nobu who doesn't have dodge attacks anymore, and or Glad just has a move extra for no reason, or. For example, Nobu's stuff was supposed to be like, oh, it's fast and it has a huge hitbox, and it's a heavy, okay?
Yeah.
And if you want to dodge something, you use the light. Now that's just gone, all the functionality out the window for no reason.
I know, I agree with you.
It's not a good idea to standardize
rated by disc, so thanks for that. I would agree with you completely, and to be honest, the two which I feel so the TG they got rid of the feintable dodge heavies being light parries as well, which is obviously an obvious change that needed to happen. And to be honest, I would say that Nobushi's Sidewinder is in a similar category. It's not really a dodge attack. It shouldn't really be treated like one. And ideally, I would have them make it less like a dodge attack, so there's no argument to be had that it's usable for dodging. So if you could write... So you mentioned about... Sorry, somebody from chat saying about Shigoki. Yeah, the 4 dodge versions of these can still chain on a whiff if they could beforehand. So Sucker Punch and Goki's 4 dodge headbutts. But of course, you can't use those defensively. So in team fights, Goki was side dodging and bashing people a lot, and he's not really doing that as safely as he used to. So yeah, with a Sidewinder, I would rather it have the 0 ms startup it used to have, or 0 to 100 ms, or 0 to make it 0 to 166, so it can literally never have iframes, and it will still. And then, if it's not going to be dodging anything, you can just make it back into a.
I mean, why does it have to change at all? That's what I mean. It's like unnecessary, literally unnecessary.
Yeah,
it's not
well,
like there was
I mean,
an issue with it until now.
Yes, I mean, this is kind of like, I mean, I get this as well, and it's attempting.
No, I just mean like sure, it got a change it shouldn't have gotten, so let's fix it. But why do you have to fix it? Just leave it as it is, like how it was before. You don't need to come up with another fix. Is what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah. I mean,
making it behave
heavy,
differently,
yeah.
or making it behave like something 60 years ago or something.
well, I mean that's a fair point to make, of course, but when you have these, I mean, the devs don't really like backpedaling on things. I've noticed. We have things like Orochi getting nerfed by removing the dodge cancel on the forward dodge kick and the undodgeable forward dodge light. And then, rather than, when it was clear that the character was being over-nerfed, rather than undoing those nerfs, and, like, for example, putting the undodgeable back on his forward dodge light, which would have made his offense better, they've been buffing him in other aspects, like his hitboxes and the side
I know he has some
finishes getting
idiot
sped up.
finisher side heavy.
Yeah. So
I mean, all of this is, we all know whose problem that is.
yeah. Well, we don't necessarily have to agree with it, but I mean, I don't agree with it either. I would be personally fine with them backpedaling on certain changes, but when it comes to making suggestions, I always would rather. Yeah, Kenpo's saying he doesn't think the devs have ever backpedaled. I mean, they've done. They haven't never backpedaled. We had things like the removing stuff from the game, and in terms of for the rotating shop thing, they backpedal on that pretty loudly.
I think if they spend resources doing something, they're not going to backpedal.
Yeah, it's
No,
difficult.
but it's like
Which is kind of bad.
it's like it's like a loophole, because you can say, oh well, this wouldn't need to be backpedaled if they tested it more, but then you can't test something infinitely. So
Yeah,
it's just like
yeah,
sometimes you could say that the resources they use to make a shitty change paid off in the experience of knowing that was a shitty change, so you don't get to do it again. Sure, if you revert it, you technically didn't do anything, but it's not like that deep. You can revert stuff and make the game better.
I mean, like I said, I would agree with you, except I don't think it's necessarily. I don't necessarily think we're going to be able to persuade them along.
No,
that
I
change.
don't. I'm just.
Whereas if we make
rambling.
suggestions like make it not really function like a dodge attack anymore. I mean, actually, it would be if Sidewinder went to have like its old startup, its old input window, which was 100 to 0 to 200, which is the original window it had. It would be better as a move for doing its purpose of being able to like fast, large hitbox, like essentially like another zone attack. It'd be better if it was that.
Yeah, I guess my point is that it's said that after they mess something up, we have to come up with new solutions instead of just telling them, oh, it was okay before. Like, we need to come up with a different solution to achieve the same thing that they could have achieved by rolling it back.
Yeah,
Which
that is...
I'm assuming that just causes more trouble on their end, so I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they presumably they have their ideas for what they want the game to be, and we are never going to... It's going to be very difficult for us as players to tell the devs, no, this is not what the game should be, do what we think. Because, well, we're players, and at the end of the day, they may have tried different things and they've decided this is the way they want things to go, or they may have other changes they want to do in future, which we don't know about, that something that looks really bad now is actually going to make sense in the future. It's difficult for us to say, and I feel like it's probably more productive to suggest new things which can like compromise, I guess.
Yeah, but we're not like, we need to give feedback for what we have, not what's coming and
of
hypothetically
course,
coming
of course,
in the future. But this is going to be a good change in 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but when I'm talking like what we can say now, we basically, I think we can be pretty sure that the dodge light changes are not going to go back. They're not
No,
gonna,
yeah, of course they won't, and
yeah.
that's something. I'm not
To deal
gonna.
with.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I get it, but I think we can also discuss now, given these changes that have happened, which seem to be set in stone, which of these dodge attacks, which characters need buffs to compensate. I don't really want to keep in mind the idea of any more nerfs at other characters. I mean, other than obviously like Janhu's, which needs fixing. I think that's
Yeah, it needs
clear.
reverting back to how it was.
That one needs to go back, and I think they probably will put that one back because it's not as big of a sea change as it would be to like make another exception for the dodge light rule. I mean, maybe they could, but like I said, if Sidewinder came out earlier, it would be a better at it as its original thing, and also less likely to get people confused about dodge attacks not doing anything. Well, 1 second. Sorry. So to that end, I have created this, my favorite thing, a spreadsheet, which I know everybody loves. So hopefully you can see this reasonably clearly. Essentially what I've done is ranked all the characters based on their health. For each character I've gone through, and each dodge attack, not including Sidewinder, because Sidewinder, as we've mentioned, is... I'm going to try and zoom this in a little bit, so it's a little bit more visible. Where's the zoom button? All right, here it is.
It's fine. It's very visible.
Fine? You guys can all see it
Yeah,
easily?
it's perfectly fine.
Okay, well, I'll put it back to 100 in that case. It's always difficult to need to know how things are going to look on stream. But I've basically ranked them. I've scored each character on their health, on the speed of the dodge attack, on how good the hitboxes are. And these are all positive scores. So you actually get a higher score for the lower number you've got. Really, I should have done this the other way around and actually made these positive, but whatever. So PK, for example, has 120 health, so she gets 3 points here. She has 5 through 3
I'm not
MS.
gonna lie, this is gonna be impossible for how do I say this nicely? For a less experienced player to understand.
That's okay.
So
I'm just trying to like. I'm gonna sort of skim over this. I'm just trying to give a quick explanation, and we'll go through the other stuff afterwards. Basically, just a way of trying to rank the dodge attacks on first principles, what damage and how good should they be given their properties and stuff like that. So, and now could hopefully then we can like go back and think which of these dodge attacks are doing too little damage or need buffing in other ways. Like Shaman's, for example, does really low damage, has really bad hitbox, it's got its window reverted, doesn't have much other properties, and so on. It probably should be higher damage, essentially. So that's basically the aim for this thing. So other than that, the sort of health, speed, hitbox of the attack itself, I've also listed like defensive properties. So if they have other defensive tools here, like full blocks, stance dodge, which is like hidden stance, crushing counters, deflect or static guard, which is still better than reflex guard, although not nearly as much as they used to, and multiple dodge attacks. So here, so basically it's a little bit confusing because the scores here, helpful, and these are negative scores. So the higher you've got here, the worse. Here, the higher the better, and here, the higher the better. So Peacekeeper's got low health, is a reasonable speed, terrible hitboxes. She's not got many other defensive tools. The properties on the dodge attack are that it has low recovery. That's about it. But it's also is double hit, so it takes longer to do its damage, and it's got bleeding. It does bleed damage, which is arguably a negative. So she gets 2 points for that. And her identity, her role is kind of like a defensive and agile character. So it ends up with a total score of 10, but actually her normal damage is pretty high. So kind of one could argue that the actual damage makes sense on Peacekeeper. Whereas on Gladiator, he's getting a high score, but his damage is actually pretty standard to low. So if anything, Gladiator's dodge light should be buffed to be higher damage, for example. Does that make sense?
This is just I want to flame this really bad.
Well, you can go ahead and flame it
It's alright.
in a
I
second if
mean,
you want.
I want to. No.
Fair enough. Basically, if these two things don't match, I think they're more likely to need buffs than other things. Does that make sense?
Kinda, yeah.
To me, it does. To nobody else, it won't make
Okay.
sense.
I
It's,
mean-
I think it would have been better here if instead of the 1, 2, and 3, you would have just used low, medium, or good, or bad,
Yeah,
decent,
yeah,
good.
probably. I mean, I could have done it. It was really, this is, the important column is this one here, like the score, the rank that I've given these dodge attacks to see which you think are really good, which you think are not good enough, and so on.
So do you want to like go through each one of them and say our thoughts, or
Yeah, like which dodge attacks do you think are fine, don't
we can
need
go down
changing?
list?
Or you could just take each character. Me and Bean, I don't think we need to look at the list to
Fair
just
enough.
tell you.
Well, you know
top
what
of our
I'll
head.
do is I'll try. Actually, that's not going to work, is it? I was going to try and put the characters here, but we're going to go through Peacekeeper. Does her dodge attack need buffing now?
I think it's. I don't know. It's strange. It's a difficult one.
Okay, are we allowed? Are we just saying buffer nerf, or can we
You can give suggestions.
Can we? Okay, we'll take balancing changes. I'd say
yeah.
PK's one needs to be balanced differently because
Maybe I'm going to
it
write
deals,
these down.
it deals too much damage. But then if you take the damage away, it's a shitty dodge attack. So it's like take a bit from there and then give somewhere else. But now with everything being the same,
Well,
it's,
what would you suggest for, given that we can't change the light parry stuff, how would you want PK's dodge attack to be different?
yeah, the thing is, with PK, I'm not gonna lie, it's super odd one out because the rest of her kit revolves around the bleed.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to keep the bleed, but the bleed is a negative. But you want to keep the bleed, it's like it's super back and forward.
Yeah. Which is why I personally don't think PK's needs changing too much, if anything.
Not too much, I would still lower the damage.
Yeah, well,
Just because it's not only is it higher than usual, it's a lot higher than usual.
yeah, I mean, it's the highest by 2 damage points, basically.
Yeah, but everything above 15, like, I feel like when you're talking about dodge attacks, a defensive move, going from 15 to 16 is a decent increase, but going from like 17 to 18, even though it's still 1 point, I feel like it amounts for much more.
Fair enough.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, and I agree. I think it's an interesting, useful take as well. But all right, well, potentially potentially for nerfing, but other changes, maybe like, I mean, do they have with the reduction in the recoveries? It is now a lot better in team fights than it used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very, very good.
You say it's very good, yeah. So, yeah,
By the way, I don't know. I said if you would have removed all the damage, it would be shitty.
fair enough. I mean,
So
anything does.
I don't know. I feel like maybe the slightest reduction in damage by like 2 is okay.
All right, so I'm gonna put that down. Slight reduction. Oh, shit.
Would that be reduction in bleed or hit damage, though?
I
think
mean, bleed. A hit. I would say hit
It's-
because
Yeah,
if
they
you
kinda
remove the
need-
bleed, then
Yeah.
I give it more bleed damage.
that
More-
is just buff.
Is that what you said?
Fair enough. Well, okay, I'm gonna leave this one as this one is so
It's
controversial.
super. It's
I'm just gonna
super
leave question
all
marks
over
for
the place.
PK
Okay.
because we don't have
So
like
the odd one out.
No matter what you do for PK, it's a bad change.
Yeah.
Unless you do 16 other changes. So
fair enough. All right. Well, gladiators dodge light.
I think it's fine.
It's the only one that is non-enhanced that's a regular dodge light and doesn't have any other properties. So there's only a few that aren't
now
enhanced
with a
anymore.
bigger window, I think it's okay.
Should
if we're talking
we?
about dodge light,
We'd like to see its damage go up to like 16 or something.
No,
not
it's
really.
fine.
Okay.
The Glad has pretty big damage.
It has decent iframes.
Fair enough.
And now with the window, you actually kind of can use it. But then we go to the bash, and it's.
Yeah, well, the bash, I think, I mean, we haven't really talked about well, we have talked about them, but I think the bash should just, ideally, would just confirm its chain lights. I mean,
Or you can just Shikoki it.
or do direct damage, yeah.
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 No reason not to.
Yeah, okay, well, I won't bother noting down. So, weirdly, Nabushi's dodge light came up here as one of the worst ones on account of her having low health. The speed is kind of mid. It's got terrible hitboxes, and she's got good defensive tools, but the dodge attack itself is bleed and isn't enhanced.
Okay. This is where I'm going to flame your spreadsheet, because in the actual context of the game, the spreadsheet means nothing.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's obviously
this is purely objective, but you can't do that because
Absolutely
in the
not.
game stuff plays out differently. That's
So exactly,
That's
this
my
is why I was saying
complaint.
that this is where Nobushi here is one where this like approach kind of falls apart a little bit, because her dodge light is much better in reality than it kind of is on paper. If that makes any sense.
That's why we should just go to the heroes, honestly, and give opinion on the hero, because on the hero's attack specifically, because
Fair
I
enough.
think a spreadsheet like this is more for somebody who has no clue what they're looking at.
Okay. All right. Well, in that case, I'll just go to. I'll switch over, and I'm already on the hero select
I
screen.
mean, it's fine. We can keep this up. We can keep it.
Okay, well, fair enough. I mean,
So-
I think it's interesting to at least look at these things. There is some degree of things lining up. So Shamans, for example, I think we'd all agree that Shamans is one of the biggest losers from this patch, and that her dodge attack should probably be better.
Yeah, okay. Let's take him in order though, and let's get him in order and move a bit faster.
Okay, so Centurion.
Okay, no, we didn't finish with Noble.
Oh, okay, Nobu. All right,
Okay.
Nobu. You want
Nobu's-
dodge light to change?
Well, now it's 200 to 400 from what?
I think it was what it was. That's the same it was beforehand, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's really strong, enabled circuit because of the way of the shirk. And still is just really good tool overall. So I think it's fine. Yeah, the zero range, which is a bleed problem, but that's for another
Yeah.
day. It's fine. I wouldn't change it.
And but Glad's light is kind of okay-ish.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah,
just
okay.
fine.
Okay is a good word.
Yeah, I think I would say it needs a bit of buffing comparatively. I mean, like because we have things like.
I think what would fix Glad's dodge is hit stagger increase.
Okay, so stagger.
So it makes his follow mix up better. Let's think about it this way: if they add damage to the buckler, and then you have haymaker on top of it, why ever use the light?
Yes, yeah. Well, so this is for the like, but yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, I'd say like if they added, let's say, 5 direct damage to the bash, and then 5, it'd be 10, and then if you made this 16, then it'd still be worth using sometimes. But yeah, medium hit stun is a good idea, because then that way his and also there's not unprecedented as well, because Nobushi has medium hit stun on her dodge light, so that's a good change. I like that suggestion a lot. Centurion.
It's
But it's
better
cautious
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better now, and it's like how bad or good it is directly influenced by what he can do after it. Scent has super strong mix-up after it. Unlike, say, for example, Nobu, who does Dodge Light. Well, yeah, Dodge Light's really strong, but you can't do anything after it.
Yeah.
Whereas Scent, you do it, and then you go into an unreactable mix-up. I wouldn't really touch Scent,
Fine.
fine.
but at the same
I'd
time,
probably agree with that as well.
super hypothetical. I wish he had some... He's super 2D.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, he's fine.
Shaman. This is one of the ones that I think, to me, is a clear need of buff, and I would
Yeah, I
say
should have just stayed heavy already.
I mean,
it
that-
doesn't...
but
Either that, or you just give it a big hitbox.
bigger hitbox and maybe like slightly better damage, 14, 15.
Ah,
I mean, we have a bunch of 16 damage dodge attacks.
yeah, but I don't think she needs it. She
Like
has
these guys,
good,
which are-
you need to think
She
about the
already
whole
has
hero. I
super
think
high
she's
damage.
okay.
Sorry, Bean. What was that?
She already has super high damage as a character.
Okay.
Yeah, not needed.
So
So
just
I
hitbox
think
in that case.
yeah, hitboxes need to be increased.
All right. Okay, we've got Orochi's backlight, which is already kind of high damage. I think this doesn't need anything else.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
I wouldn't touch.
Fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Griffin's dodge attack. I think this should go up to 16 damage, because Kensei's, what's his face, Shaolin's, and other like big hitbox ones. His hitbox not the most amazing one either. So I think this should be 16 damage to be on par with these other ones.
If it had Kensei's hitbox, I don't think it would need to be increased in damage,
I mean, it's not
because
gonna
I think increasing damage is a pretty shitty band-aid.
Yeah,
to
I mean,
make it better because I can make the worst hero in the game, but give him infinite damage, and there you go, he's a good hero, you know.
yes, but
So
this
I
is a
would
case of
say,
fine. Like you can use damage to fine tune things essentially. So if his dodge attack's not so terrible, you
yeah,
could.
but I would rather use hitbox instead.
Okay, so fair enough. Better hitbox. That's fair enough.
I would take the damage increase, but that's just because I'm assuming I wouldn't get anything else.
All right, I'll put maybe damage because you might take it. Yeah, well, let's speed through these because I want to have my dinner, and we probably gonna. I think Nusha's is. I mean, it's low damage, but it's got the medium hit stun. It's kind of equivalent to
I would say
Gladiator's.
it's low damage.
Well, it's
15's
lower
good
damage compared to
It's normal damage.
normal damage. Okay, it's normal damage, and she has slip through as well, so it can be slightly higher. Has a deflect on the same input. I think it's probably fine.
Yes.
My opinion. All right. And again, she's not a very defensive character, so it kind of works. Kensei's, I think, is also fine. I wouldn't want to nerf it further.
And you his mix up after dodge attack hit is viable now, right? You can no longer
Yeah,
avoid.
yeah,
Okay, then I think it's fine. Yeah.
good, perfect. Valkyrie,
That's fine.
fine.
It's fine. Hard to see past the entire character, but fine.
Yeah, yeah. Aramusha,
Bad. Yeah, 16 damage.
It's good
iframes.
damage in good iframes. I feel like it's more of the fact that now that it's a light parry, it's such a radical change.
yeah.
I mean,
But it was super strong before, so I would say it's okay.
All right. Shaolin, I put him in monk here because he's been lazy. Big hitboxes. I mean, I think if anything, I mean, if these are all,
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's literally can say.
yeah. All right, Melee Axe 1. I think this is a clear-cut need of a buff to the damage because it's always been so weirdly low.
Yeah, like 15 or something.
Yeah, they need to up the damage for it, or give it to Zerk tier iframes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it is Zerk's dodge attack after all. Come on, boys.
Yeah. Well, Zerk, weirdly, I think it actually might technically have better iframes than Zerk's itself, because of how Zerker is.
Well, same functionality. That's
Yeah.
why.
Okay. Staff 1, I'm assuming we think it's fine. / if anything needs nerf on account of its crazy hitboxes.
Meh.
Meh.
I feel like now the hitbox is a bit countered by the light parry, so I think it's okay.
Okay. Highlander. Better hitboxes or fine?
I don't think
go
it's a.
with
I don't think you should give that attack hitboxes.
It does have heavy hit stun after all.
This is actually one of those that I would give like more damage, just more damage.
Okay. So like 16,
Because
15?
It's one-dimensional, so yeah, like 16 is.
That suits me. So now we're actually getting to the ones that weirdly in my thing came out as being already quite powerful. So Orochi's side dodge, I think before the
Has it
window
changed
was
anything?
changed, was already the most powerful one in the game, really. So I think I wouldn't change it at all.
Well, wait, what changed for it again?
Well, it got the window got nerfed slightly.
Yeah. If anything, if I'm getting greedy, I could say nerf it a bit further, but
Yeah.
no, it's okay.
All right. Raiders, Dying Tap, slightly nerfed input window, but other than that, unchanged. I think that's pretty fine as well.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't say fine, I say okay.
Okay.
It definitely didn't need to be touched, but
No.
Yeah. Jorm, I think, is fine. It's now got chain hyper on it, so it's actually better than it used to be, as well as the input window be better. So I think it's
Leads
fine.
to Miss Bash, so yeah, so.
yeah, it's okay.
Kyoshin is one of these characters that feels a lot worse than it used to, but actually has a lot of good things going for his dodge attack. Because, as you know, he's got recovery cancels. He's also been buffed with his good mix-up afterwards. And it's not got the worst hitbox, but I think... And he's got a lot of defense.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't have an external hitbox.
So we'd say hitbox and buff.
It's very like Mage X. So at the tiniest hitbox, like I would say this is a part of the thing where it suffers from not having a hitbox at all. You know, it's like when you hit somebody you're not locked on. You have somebody who you're not locked onto in front of you, and you still can't hit them.
Okay, so he literally has no hitboxes. Well, fair enough.
Yeah, it's just like give it a hitbox that matches his swing.
Right.
What is that? A fear.
We've got Fira next,
Buff.
who again is really low damage, like weirdly low damage, but she has lower defensive tools. I personally probably
Okay.
want the damage up to 14 or something.
Fix the guard swap and buff the damage.
They fixed that as well.
What's the guard
Good,
swap
okay.
issue with her?
It was that you can dodge, but apparently they
Oh,
fixed
that's
it.
fixed, yeah. Okay, so buff damage to 15
Uh,
or 14?
I'm unbiased. 14.
14. Okay, fair enough. Tiandi's side dodge lights.
I think it's
I've
fine.
always thought these were
It's-
weirdly low damage, but I don't think Tiandi needs more buffs.
Changed to unreactable, pretty much unreactable.
Change to
so, like,
reactable has 22 damage CC. Changed into self god move.
It's just fine. It's not. Yeah, I don't know how
It's
you dodge
definitely
it, to be
on
honest.
the much stronger side of the dodge attacks, but
I don't know how you
considering
dodge
it's a vital tool, I would say. Mm,
it. It can't do less damage.
Yeah, okay.
it cannot do less damage. It's kind of finicky. I would say just leave it. No, it's one of the things that you're gonna only make worse if you touch.
Yeah. So these ones have all come out as weirdly with lower scores mostly because they've got so much other defensive tools going on, especially Black Prior. But I think I don't really want to see dodge attacks nerfed further, so I would say they're fine. Other than Hitakiri's, which has no hitbox and definitely needs a hitbox buff.
Yeah, I'd say Warlord is okay. Because he changed into 100 MS hyper armor. And now with the better hit, but it did get kind of nerfed.
I mean, this one's only hit.
These is very good.
BP's is very good. So, I mean, do you think BP's damage needs to go down on it? Like, do you think it's too good?
I think
or?
it's no. I think it is fine how it is.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Okay.
But it is very good.
All right. Pirate has weirdly, again, despite the fact that she's been one of the biggest losers of this, she has this again shows that this approach, like going through things sort of finger quotes objectively, is not always the best idea, because clearly she's been the biggest loser of this patch. She's just come very low because she has so many properties on the dodge attack. It has great hitboxes, it has chain hyper armor, it's got dodge cancels, and it's got the ability to break hyper armor, which basically very few other dodge attacks have. It's a dodge bash thing, really. But then it also feeds loads of revenge and is a double hit, and is kind of like her main thing.
Just leave it, man. The car's already dead. Just
Yeah,
leave it.
leave. Stop hitting her. She's already dead. Crying emoji. Jan Hughes. Well, this is easy. Input window fix.
400. That's 400.
Yep.
400, not 4 dash dash. Doesn't matter really. And last one, Zerkers, which come out
It's fine.
weirdly as the best dodge attack in the game. This fan analysis, because it's undodgeable, got great recovery cancels, hyper armor.
It's fine.
It's fine?
Always would worse.
Fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to highlight these ones that we want to fix / improve, and I don't know, maybe a post to fix to improve. There we go. Do this stuff, devs, please. And we've compromised because we're not complaining about the light parries so much anymore.
On stream.
On stream, yeah. Okay, well, that is all the stuff I had prepared. Do we want to do any last little words or any last thoughts about how the meta is going to change given all these changes, or should we wrap it up there? I know we've gone for an hour and 50 minutes, which is I'm very, very grateful to you guys for joining me on stream. Thank you much.
You can do very
Meta's gonna
quick.
Shift to very
In onesies, meta's gonna shift, or is it not? In onesies it will change a lot. In foursies, people say it's gonna change a lot. I think it's gonna
the characters that were already.
it's gonna change a bit, but not as much as in 1v1s. Is my prediction, because sure, team fights are gonna be much different now with being able to hit with guard, but at the same time, that's stuff you could get around by just throwing a different side attack, which people did at high level anyways.
Yeah.
So 4v4 is gonna be. I wouldn't say meta would change. It would just play a little bit differently. Meta wouldn't change. Whereas in
there's-
1v1s, I would say it changes radically.
Okay. Which characters are going to be more? Are we going to see any characters more of now in fours than we were beforehand?
Jorm, lol.
With Jorm, obviously, yeah.
Not really. Other than you, excluding Jorm,
Shinobi's
Shinobi's already used.
Do you think it's
Nothing
gonna
that
be
ones
is.
and shit.
If you're talking about ones, then I don't know. Game was garbage.
I think we are likely to see more Shinobi because his double dodge gives him defense against external undodgeables in a way that other characters don't have.
Well, okay, are we talking onesies or foursies then?
Foursies. Sorry, I'm not
Foursies,
talking meta and fours.
nothing
but-
changes.
Okay, so it's still
Courtesy of Conquest.
fair enough. Okay, well that's a good thing. I was thinking we might see more of Shinobi on account of, like I said, better. He's got his defense against undodgeables that other characters can't really use. But
Some landing a lot more.
Yeah, this 1v1 is gonna change everything, but not for first.
all right, well, I don't know if you want to give any like 1v1s. I think the conclusion is Valk and Shinobi and Tiandi are reigning even more supreme. Jormungandr, V good. Anybody with, I mean, I guess the undodgeable mix-ups don't make that much of a difference in 1v1s. Just how safe characters are.
I guess you can land more damage in onesies now. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Because I will not touch that game up.
Bean, do you want to give a one-sentence summary or two-sentence summary of what you think the changes are going to be for onesies, and then we'll wrap everything up.
What do I think the changes are going to be for onesies?
Yeah, like overall, what thing?
Dodgeables are going to land a lot more damage is going to be landed. Basically what Normie said.
Yeah, it's
And if you mess up a dodge because you try to dodge into an attack, you're going to eat it.
Yeah.
more.
So I would say in that case that the characters with reflex guard are becoming better in comparison because
That's another spreadsheet opinion.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
They don't actually change anything in practice.
Yeah, it doesn't. They're not better, but everybody else is worse.
That's just it's just like saying, oh, they're better because they didn't get nerfed. No, they're the same. They just didn't get nerfed.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They didn't get nerfed as much, so comparatively, they'll move up in rankings, as it were. Anyway, no worries.
Okay,
Well, I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much, Normie and Bean, for sitting through my spreadsheet nonsense. I don't know. Maybe the devs use spreadsheets, and this speaks to them on a deeply personal level.
Yeah, no, that's just a shitty spreadsheet. Spreadsheets are fine. That one was just shit.
I've made better, and I will try harder in the future. So thank you very much for watching. I think that's everything, and I'm probably gonna call it here. We're going to do another tournament some point soon. Keep an eye out. And we will probably do another dojo when the testing grounds rolls around, so we can talk about the Nusha trap
We can
changes,
laugh at Lawbreaker.
and so we can cry about Lawbringer. I think that's the plan. I think we're going to do like a 12-minute hate or whatever it's called. You know, we're just going to be screaming and in the sub for I think for ages and ages. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.